They still talk about it in hushed tones around Salford quays. The shimmering water, calm in daylight, becomes something else after dusk, a black mirror hiding the city's oldest fear. For years the locals whispered about the bodies. First one or two, then a handful. Then, over the decades, more than 85 drowned souls pulled from the cold throat of the Manchester ship Canal. The police called it coincidence. The council called it urban myth. But the people who lived along the water, they had another name. The Pusher. A shadow that moved where the canal met the darkness. It began near Salford quays, long before the glass towers shone against the water. Back when the wind carried the ghosts of the old docks and the warehouses stood hollow, staring into the night. Late-night workers vanished on their walk home. Joggers disappeared mid-stride. Homeless men sleeping near the towpath simply never woke. And every few weeks, a body surfaced, waterlogged, silent, eyes wide as if they'd seen something in the depths no living mind should witness. The newspapers printed the tragedies like clockwork. Accident after accident. Slip after slip. But people who lived near the quay saw the pattern. Always alone. Always at the edge. Always found with fingernail scratches along the brickwork as if they'd tried to claw their way out of the water. Bridgewater Canal was worse. By day it was peaceful, families walking the path, cyclists rattling over the cobbles, narrowboats drifting through orange light. But at night the air felt heavy, as though something old walked alongside you and never seen, always sensed. A chill that moved opposite the wind. Footsteps that splashed even when the water was still. Locals swore they heard soft breaths behind them. A single shoe found on the towpath. A mobile phone still recording the last sound of faint ripple. Dog walkers began avoiding the stretch between Castlefield and Ordsall after dark. Even the hard men who drank in the backstreet pubs told their mates to stick to the roads at night. Because the Pusher watched from the corners, always waiting for one moment of distraction. Some of the recovered bodies came from the ship Canal near Stretford. Others surfaced near Trafford Wharf, Salford Quays, Eccles. A few were found floating miles further, carried silently by the slow churn of the water. All of them had three things in common: no witnesses, no robbery, and fingernail gouges on their palms, proof they'd fought to survive. Rumors grew. A man in dark clothing. A figure that never spoke. Eyes like wet stone. A hand cold as the canal itself. They said the Pusher didn't kill out of rage or greed. He did it to feed the water, to give the city what it demanded. The legend reached its peak the year the water froze along the edge of the quays. One bitter night, just after midnight, a group of late-shift workers were walking home along the illuminated waterfront. The reflections of media city lights shimmered across the water. They paused when they heard footsteps behind them, slow, steady, perfectly matched to theirs. A tall, dark silhouette stood at the far end of the path. Motionless. The group stepped aside, telling themselves not to look scared. The figure didn't pass them. It stepped closer to the canal instead. Then it turned its head, just slightly, as if acknowledging them. The workers scrambled away, refusing to look back. And in the morning, before the traffic began, a man was found face down in the canal only meters from where the figure had stood. People still walk the waterways. They still drink on the quays. They still cross Bridgewater's old brick bridges. But they move quicker now. Stay closer to the lamplight. Taxi drivers warn lone passengers heading toward the canal paths. Fishermen refuse to cast their lines after dusk. Security guards near Media City lock the gates early. And every so often, the water bubbles up as if something beneath is rising for air. A reminder. A warning. The Pusher never left. He simply waits for the next footstep too close to the edge. The next shadow cast over the black water. The next moment when someone walks alone along the canal after midnight. Because in Manchester's dark folklore, the canal is never truly safe. And the Pusher is always one pace behind. He is always watching. Janine had always been the one who paid attention to the things everyone else ignored. Where other people shrugged off the canal deaths as tragic accidents, she kept notebooks, dates, locations, tide levels, CCTV gaps, phases of the moon. A detective without a badge. She'd sit in the cafes around Salford Quays, sipping tea, watching the water like it was trying to confess something. And she had a theory. One that made people shift uncomfortably in their seats. There was a man, she told you one evening, leaning forward, whispering as though the canal itself had ears. A Chinese man. Lived around the old warehouse side years back. He was jailed for drugging men who were looking for company. They said he was preying on the lonely. Vulnerable blokes going home late at night. She tapped the table, her eyes narrowing. But what if he was a scapegoat? What if he never pushed anyone? What if someone else set him up, someone who wanted the police chasing shadows while the real killer kept feeding the canal? You frowned. You think the pusher framed him? Janine nodded slowly. That's how legends work, isn't it? You hide behind someone else's face. Create noise, confusion. Blame a man who was already in trouble. While the real thing, the old thing, keeps doing what it wants. According to Janine's notes, the jailed man, Liang Sun, a drifter from her research, had been caught only because someone tipped off the police with an anonymous phone call, a perfectly described address, and timing so precise it felt staged. It's too neat, she muttered. Too perfect. Almost like the pusher wanted someone else arrested. Someone to take the fall. She looked out toward the water as she spoke, her breath fogging in the cold air. What if the pusher isn't even a person anymore, she added quietly. What if it's something we can't jail? Something moving through people, through shadows, through the places where the water meets the dark. You felt a shiver crawl up your spine. Janine closed her notebook with a snap. Whatever it is, she whispered, staring at the black surface of the canal, it wanted that man locked away. Maybe because he saw something he shouldn't have. Or maybe because the pusher needed the police distracted, looking in the wrong direction while more bodies slipped beneath the surface. A week after Janine explained her theory, more bodies were found. 2 in the ship canal near Stretford, 1 near the Lowry, another floating quietly near Pomona Strand. None matched the pattern of Liang Sun's old crimes. But all matched the pusher's. And in Janine's mind, that proved it. He was never the danger, she said. He was bait. A cover story. Meanwhile, the real pusher, whatever it is, watched us argue, blame, divide, all while doing what it always does. She placed her hand on the icy metal railing overlooking the quays. The pusher didn't just kill people, she whispered. It manipulated the city. The wind pressed coldly against your back. Something rippled across the canal's surface, though no boat passed. Janine's voice dropped to a tremble. And we're only just beginning to notice.